Track 15's Tracking Ida, brought to you by Lafayette Roofing.
Welcome back to News 15 at noon. The big story right now is that we are seeing a hurricane. This is now Hurricane Ida. It has strengthened. You can see the winds are up to 75 miles per hour. That makes it a low-end Category 1 hurricane, but this has continued to strengthen through the day today. The pressure has dropped to 987 millibars. This is a significant upgrade from what we were seeing just a little while ago. And really, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that's going to be in the way of this storm. The only roadblock it has right now is Cuba. Cuba, the western side here, a little bit of some mountainous terrain that may help keep this hold steady at 75 mile per hour winds. But once it gets on the other side of Cuba, all bets are off. This is going to continue strengthening. Now, a little bit of some good news I will say here. As of the recent advisory and what we've been seeing, there's been a northerly component, a more north and east component here. That's good news. Generally, it's moving off to the north and west, yes, but the center has kind of bounced around a little bit. If we can get this kind of forming more to the east, in the long term, that serves us here in Acadiana better. But the forecast track, you can see what I'm talking about here. Look at the deviation. It's definitely not going to take a southern turn there. It's likely going to stay more to the eastern side of this track. But you can see landfall later on today as a Category 1 hurricane. By tomorrow, we are expecting probably a Category 2 early in the morning. Not going to lie, this is probably just going to keep strengthening here at a pretty good clip. And then from there, it actually strengthens even more. Now, you saw Saturday, it was at a Category 2 level, right? The reason that we expect it to jump even higher than that, it goes over the Gulf loop current, and that's the warm water that comes out of the Caribbean, loops around in the Gulf of Mexico, and then heads off as the Gulf Stream along the East Coast. That will keep this strengthening, and possibly and probably rapidly strengthening. As it approaches the Louisiana coast, guess what? Water temperatures are near 90 degrees. There is nothing in its path to stop this from strengthening. So we are likely looking at a Category 3, Category 4 approaching the Louisiana coastline here Sunday night. That's the time frame. Now, the models going back and forth a little bit. We're getting into that time frame where it's, looking at, 50 miles either way of this center line. But what I'm going to be paying attention to is where does this track shift? Does it come back to the west, or does it stay firm here into Terrebonne Parish or go east? The further east this goes, the better it is for us here in Acadiana. That keeps us on the western side of the storm, away from the strongest winds, away from the heaviest rain, and that surge potential. As we head through the day today and beyond, we have a hurricane watch in place. This will be likely upgraded to a hurricane warning fairly soon, but we are looking at the entirety of Acadiana under that watch, and that does include Ville Platte, Jennings, Opelousas. Yeah, even though you may be north of 49 or north of 10 and along 49, you're seeing the possibility of some of those hurricane winds. There's a tropical storm watch back off to our north and west, but that doesn't really concern us because we're getting the worst of this. Now, here's just my take on the peak wind gusts that we will see from here. The farther west you go, the lower your wind speed. So some tropical storm force wind gusts possible over towards Lake Charles. Higher amounts, though, in this Iberia, St. Mary, lower St. Martin Parish area, and then east. That's where the core of this storm is going to go. The other thing, along with that core, storm surge. A storm surge watch is in effect for those coastal areas for 5 to 7 feet. And based on the projection right now, the highest surge values will be to the east of the area. But if this shifts back to the west, that puts it firmly right back here in Acadiana. We're going to keep you updated on the latest on now Hurricane Ida, so stay with us. We will be right back after this break.
Storm Track 15's Tracking Ida, brought to you by Lafayette Roofing.